Hi, this is Jacqueline here with the Grow Program. Thank you for growing with me. In this life, sometimes we can be each other's own worst enemy. Just like being like crabs in a bucket. We can't stand to see one another get ahead. Can't stand to see even to help one another out. And even still in relationships, we are in a spiritual warfare. We really are. It's not your people. It's a spiritual warfare that we're in. The evil is not racist. And it's spiritual demons that jump off in folks. It does. And it's really sad that as we are going through in life, we run across people who have messed up agendas. These narcissistic type of behaviors, they can be devastating. It really can. If you don't know God, and if you don't have faith and trust and believe in yourself and a peace and happiness within you, a narcissistic person can truly destroy you. They can. Because they use you to elevate themselves and make themselves look bigger and prouder and boast, and they do no wrong. And a narcissistic person is really a damage to themselves and don't even know it. And so we need to be mindful of that type of behavior, because as I was reading and studying on it, it will drive you to suicide. It will make you really think something is wrong with you, because they will turn it to something wrong with you. Because, like he said, he does no wrong. He don't do any wrong. He can do what he want to do. You get married and you do what you want to do. Don't worry about what I do. Stay in your lane. But it taught me some very valuable lessons. It really did. It taught me boundaries. It taught me to be happy within myself, find peace and joy within myself. See, and that's where all a part of the Grow Program, being over there and dealing with the demons in the house. And then on top of that, dealing with him, leaving every 2 weeks, looking for attention. It's all about attention, drawing attention to himself. And it's narcissists. And we have some leaders, who've been in public office, who've been who've demonstrated narcissistic behavior, and as you read upon it, you will learn about it yourself and find that it is not you. It is not nothing that you were doing. And I remember laying in bed and crying for hours, because I thought it was something I was doing, something wrong. What is wrong? And I mean, a narcissist can walk right past you and don't even see you, no type of emotion. They don't demonstrate emotion. That's a way that they protect themselves. It's not to show any type of emotion. And that's what he used to do. And matter of fact, he even said, as a narcissist cannot use you for anything else. You're not beginning to, they're not getting the attention from you that they're used to getting. They look for it elsewhere. That's what he had done the whole marriage. And so then, at the end, he basically said that, I don't need you for anything anymore. I have to move on. There's nothing else you can do for me. There's nothing else you can buy me or give me. And he basically said that. So, and I'm figuring out, well, I'm trying to rack my brain about what we get married for. What was all this for? It's like throwing 3 years into an investment and then get nothing out of it. And it's really sad that people will go into relationships with messed up agendas, and then that's what turned our hearts cold. You giving and giving, and then next thing you know, you done turn cold. Turn inward, turn toward yourself. You affecting you. Then you start affecting. That's how the cycle of oppression is, and that's the same way that didn't happen with this country. the cycle of oppression, the cycle of slavery. They on there talking about mass incarceration. Yes, it is a problem. It is truly a problem. Mass incarceration and genuine equality. I was 2 months old when Dr. King addressed the Hungry Club. And he said that the struggle now is for genuine equality. That is where we're headed towards next, is genuine equality. So that's where we're still struggling on to genuine equality. So the ancestors have given us the grow movement. So we are growing. We're growing and we're striving towards genuine equality as we rise above the oppression. They have given us the solution to the problem. All we have to do is keep growing in love. We need to recognize that we are in a spiritual warfare, with these people, with these spiritual demons that we dealing with, we're in a battle, and you're not safe from it anywhere. It's within your house. It was within my house, a spiritual battle. It's everywhere, and it is just not in one race of people. It was once thought, just like the Hungry Club was a group of sympathetic politicians who were there to listen to Dr. King and try to offer some help and advice and whatever they could, because just like now, anybody who try to rise, we've gotten better in the times, but anybody who ever tried to rise for Africans, was shot down. So these people had to be careful. They even had to work behind the scenes, just like anybody else who's ever worked on the Underground Railroad before. 400 years ago, from the time our ancestors set foot on the new world and took off running, it's been folks who have been sympathetic to the movement, but they kind of had to work behind the scene. But until now, we have had a president days ago, stand before the whole nation and said, I want to end white supremacy. He said in front of the white supremacy, he brave enough to say that. Nobody has ever said that, ever. So thank you, Joe Biden, for being brave enough to say that. So now we need to move on towards genuine equality. That's next. That's what's up ahead, is genuine equality. No, it's not okay. Herschel Walker, we're not going to be stuck in the status quo. It's just, it's maybe all right for you, because everybody know who you are. If you ride down the road, police pull you, oh yeah, that's Herschel Walker. Hey, I love the game, such, see, but the next African brother, he ain't got that benefit. You see what I'm saying? Herschel Walker, he not going to be recognized. He may be a legend, but he not going to be recognized for his feats and what he done, see, because all legends ain't famous. That's the word I'm trying to get out. All legends ain't famous. There's some legends right now who have been cut down, who trying to rise, but right now I'm trying to, I'm reaching out, and we're going to get some other mountains around us. We going to rise to reach our greatness in God, and we all going to be legends. So see, that's what we aiming for, Mr. Herschel Walker. We are aiming for genuine equality, all across the board. Because just like the time when they out there in the yard, this didn't happen a couple times. This the one we seen on TV. Another time I heard about, where the Caucasian man out there running around with the sword in the yard with 8-9 police officers with him out there playing tag. But he lived to tell about it. The other Caucasian man lived to tell about it. But the African brother running for his life, he don't get to live to tell about that. He ran down the street running for his life because he don't want to get locked up under the oppression of child support. See, that's another thing. We got to think, you got two parents. You thought enough to come and have this baby. You need to sit down together without the oppression of child support. See, because this state is putting a burden, even another burden on top of the African. Because there goes some more felonies, and there goes some more fees, and some more fines, and some more interest. You already under the burden. You under more burden and more burden. You already got student loan. So we should be able to work beyond child support. I forgave $20,000 worth of child support. I did. For my first husband, I did that for him. So, I can talk. So now, there you go. I ain't got no baby daddy, no foolishness like that. But I'm just saying, we should be able to sit down as adults and forgive child support. Say, hey, look here, I see you trying. I see you spending time. You buying toys. You buying clothes. You taking her here and there. That's something that he can't go buy in no store. It's time. He's spending time with his baby. Maybe he ain't got it. But he could take up time right now, especially since coronavirus. Maybe he could take up time and spend some time with her. That's what really, by denying that baby her daddy, you really denying that baby. You really are. You denying that child. So we need to do better. We really do. We need to think about the sake of the children. Because, see, I did that foolishness for a while, too, But we really need to think about the sake of the children. We really do. We need to do better, and try to work together as people. Because, see, when we work against one another, there goes some more oppression holding us down. That's another way that we bind one another up and put stumbling blocks in one another. Because, see, the first thing, we want to hurry up and say child support, but that ain't the answer. Time, holler time. I need you to get time with the baby, time. You may not have nothing to buy for Christmas, but I appreciate the fact that you had him on Christmas. Write him a letter, and we can save that and frame it, and he'll have that forever. I'm telling you, that's parenting. What about before the state implemented child support? Before, when my parents were going through, they worked it out. When child support came, there it went. But before then, they was working it out. I'm saying we really need to do better. And think about our parents. Also think about them. Our parents was under oppression, honey. They had it hard. So don't worry. Don't think about and concentrate on what daddy didn't do and mama didn't do and this and that and other. You need to forgive. Let go of that old stuff. I understand maybe they don't want to be bothered with you, whatever, but at least you tried. At least you extended the olive branch and you left in peace. That's all we ever want to do is leave in peace. Whenever I leave someone, I want to leave them in peace. I really try to, I really do, because we love drives our hate. It really does. And we got to throw love, even if we fall, we got to get up, dust ourselves off and try to do better. Greatness reached over oppression through wisdom all over the world. God bless you.